We're back, people, and today we're breaking a film on the Miami Dolphins offense versus the Baltimore Ravens. This game was extremely frustrating, one of the more frustrating games of the year. Watching this thing, I don't, and a lot of these plays will be from the first half. I cannot understand how the Dolphins were down 8 in the first half. It's actually insane. Like, it's an anomaly, like the stuff I was saying. It's very rare for a team to have double the time of possession, over double the amount of yards and a half of the team, and be down 8. It's got to be the most dominant being down 8 performance that you could have as a team. Like, actually crazy the little mistakes they made to be down, because they were moving the ball. They got in scoring position many times, but they just could not come away with really points at all. They came away with 6. That's what they scored throughout the game. And there's many reasons for that. One, kind of, play calling initially. I didn't like the run on 3rd and 6, held it to a field goal. Then you get the false start, which, ends up, it was a 4th and 1 false start, but then that false start then turned into you kicking a field goal, which you missed anyways. Then, you get the phantom Ollie Gordon tripping call, which is one of the worst calls I've ever seen by a ref in my entire life. The Dolphins also, then they do after that, they get great field position and go 3 and out right away. They started like inside the 30 and went 3 and out. Can't have that happen. Then they do the 4th and 2 goal, or not, it wasn't even goal line, but it was 4th and 2 fade into the end zone, and like so many things. The second half, it was over by the second half. Like, the Ravens started with the ball, the Dolphins went 1-3 and out, and they were down 28-6. Just absolutely insane that they only put up 6 points. They were definitely the better team in the first half by most measures. If you play that same game in the same time possession and yardage happens, you play that game 100 times, 99 out of 100 times, the team that has the time possession the Dolphins did, the yardage the Dolphins did, they would be up points or like at least tied with some of the mistakes they made. They also had the fumble from Taj. I don't think I mentioned that, but that also gifted the Ravens 7 points. Just so many little things. Because they came out and moved the ball well, like right here initially. Dolphins off rip. They come out in this like sort of offset with the 6-0 lineman in, the offset pistol with the lineman Brunskill aligned as like a fullback to the left of you. Kind of throws the defense off. You can see the effect it has on the linebackers. You hit the back foot, timing throw to Waddle over the middle. Shout out Waddle. He was probably your best player in this game. Him and A-Chan again, pretty much doing what they always do, making plays down the field. Big 20-yard gain. So you get in that field goal range. Now it's 3rd and 6, and you run a sweep to A-Chan. And the run game was had some effective runs, but this is just not how the Dolphins are built. There are other teams that, yes, you can run on 3rd and medium and then maybe get the first down or end up, getting close enough to go for it on 4th down. I don't think the Dolphins are built for this, and it's also pretty telegraphed. Ravens up front are, having Kyle Hamilton constantly flying upfield. Borum's asked to kick out, and it's just not going to go anywhere. And if you are going to run this, I would like to see them get downhill a little bit, create some push, this more telegraphed sweep type of run. Just doesn't make much sense to me, and it pretty much guaranteed that you were going to kick a field goal, because I think the chances of them converting this are very, very small. At least try to throw the ball, because I think your chances of converting, you might not convert it still, but at least your chances go up, I would say, a decent chunk in percentage. So that kind of was a way I think they might have left some points on the field. It's not the worst one. I mean, we'll see some worse ones, obviously. And then you go to Taj. They get Taj some work in a game finally, and he's probably the guy on the team that has, after Waddle right now, probably your best guy at getting open versus man coverage. Here they get him on the seam rail slide RPO, make a good read. This guy doesn't get out to the flat. You hit the rail route quickly to Taj. Now the Dolphins need to do a better job, because this is something that notice receivers do. Cutting back to the middle of the field. Like, you catch this ball, just get upfield. Get upfield, get out of bounds as far, and gain as many yards and then get out of bounds. So you don't risk the turnover. He makes the cutback, which doesn't gain any extra yards. Like, it might, get you back to what you would have gained if you kept your momentum to the outside. But then it also puts it in play that you might fumble, and then he does lose the fumble, and that is a huge mistake. That basically was the big sort of flip in the first half that really hurt Miami, because you give to the Ravens 7 points, and the defense played hard. Like, I gotta give, the defense wasn't perfect or anything, but it took them 4 downs to score down with inside the 10. Like, they were trying their hardest. The first half was actually a pretty good performance from the defense. Second half, maybe not as strong, but either way, I'm not putting much blame on the defense for this one. But yeah, that's a huge turning point. Just little mistakes. Then you get your next drive. You get some plays to get down the field. Then you get a big 20-yard run from Achane on second down. You get the pin pull. You can see, Cole Strange pins down, Jonah pins down, and then you pull up Paul through and Brewer through, and Brewer's able to get a nice kick out. Paul's able to cut off and get enough body on Roquan Smith, and Achane just accelerates through. Actually, I've had some really decent runs on 2nd and 10 lately. I actually don't mind the 2nd and 10 runs as much because they're getting lighter boxes and getting better sort of advantageous play calls, and it's getting Achane's good looks. But the fact that after this, they don't score. They don't score on this drive. It's another drive. They got in scoring position 6 times and came away with 6 points. That's insane. This is all the first half. This game should have been so much closer based on the first half performance for Miami. They should have been up in the first half. I don't know how they weren't. It was actually so hard to watch. So then you get to that, you get a big run. Now this is the third down. This was a play. So you get Achane and Waddle out here. Basically, Achane is just running the clear out. He is running a deeper outbreaker out there on a corner, or on a safety. Kyle Hamilton, you're not throwing that route. It's basically just to get Waddle a one-on-one with room. Waddle, gives an extra little move right there, and I think that kind of throws off Tua's timing because Tua's ready to throw it now, but Waddle give that extra little hesitation just so he could secure the separation. So Tua double clutched, and that ends up the ball being late. If the ball is out now, Waddle converts first down, but since it's out late, he has to work back towards the ball, and he ends up being a yard short of the line to gain. So to me, Waddle, and this is more so on Tua. But Tua and Waddle just not being quite on the same page. Ball's double clutched. I think, if Tua just trusts Waddle's still going to get there, Waddle's explosive enough to where he can do that. That should be a first down. Then it ends up, not being. And then after this, that's the 4th and 1 where they false start. Then, you see McDaniel being super pissed on the sideline. They false start by Larry Borum, and then they miss the field goal. So they leave more points on the field. At least 3, but probably should have been, you convert this, or if you convert that 4th down, which it seemed like, McDaniel said they were going to have a touchdown that play. If you read his lips, he thought they were going to have a touchdown. I'm not quite sure. Hard to tell from just a false start where you only see players take a few steps. It didn't seem like anything was crazy open, but yeah, just leaving points on the field for sure, at least 3, potentially 7. Then you get to your next drive after this. Oh man, probably the most pissed I was at a ref call season. So look at the route by Waddle. Look what he does to Marlon Humphrey up top here. Just first of all, getting to the outside. Look at that separation on the deep route. Getting open. He catches the ball from the big hit from the safety too. Play action. You get the exact look that you want. Tua hits him. Pretty much really good throw. It's not a hospital ball. People are wondering this is just an NFL completion where the receiver is going to take a hit. But then, how do they call this tripping on Ollie? Ollie just slips. Ollie slips, doesn't try to trip at all. Guy jumps clean over him, and they called that tripping. And it didn't even matter. Even if he did trip him, this guy's still there to block. It doesn't affect the play at all. Mind-blowing. One of the worst calls I've ever seen from a ref. And that's a game-changing bad call from a ref. Because if this doesn't end up getting called, by far the best chances the Dolphins have of scoring, they would have had the ball at the 6 or 7 yard line. But they had not gotten that close all game. I don't think they got closer than that all game. They got in scoring position a lot, but they never got inside the 10. So it at least takes away 3. Probably takes away 7 based on percentages. Or 8, because at this point you're down 8. So you probably go for 2. Maybe you get it, maybe you don't. But either, it's 14-14, 14-12. That changes the whole outlook of the game. Later on, it changes your play calling. Dolphins kind of had to go super pass heavy late because they were down a lot. But if they score there, a touchdown there, they could have still kept at least a run game presence. And yeah, just a game-changing bad call. And then look at the next 2 plays after that. Now, that was 2nd and 1, too. So this is 2nd and 16. Ravens go cover 2. The Dolphins have the perfect play call versus cover 2 where they have the 2 tight ends here. One's running down the sideline to the hole shot. The other one's working down as a seam bender to beat cover 2. So Tua has to read this deep half defender. This deep half defender is kind of he's a little bit cut off there, but he starts to cheat towards the middle of the field. So Tua makes the correct read, the right throw to Connor, and actually puts it on his back shoulder where you want it, and Connor just doesn't get 2 feet in bounds. You're a former receiver. Show some awareness, man. Make a catch. You are right there to get 2 feet in bounds, and you just pull 1 foot up. Just makes no sense. Goes where the ball's supposed to go. He might even if he throws this to Dulcich, he might actually complete complete it, but this safety does start to open his hips towards the middle of the field. So like this needs to be like that's a first down on 2nd and 16, doesn't get completed. Then they get the absolute perfect play call on 3rd and 16. They bring the blitz off to his left here, the offensive left, the defensive right, and they throw the screen right behind it. Exact look that you want. And they have space to work with. Like no one is here. It is Roquan Smith. Like Malachi Stark's the next closest defender. In my opinion, like Jonah doesn't get a super clean block on Roquan here. Like Roquan's able to separate. But in my opinion, this is more an HN. Like HN, you got to show some patience and allow these blocks to develop. If HN first step to the inside here, if he breaks this like to the inside but slow plays it, he cuts this back to the outside, it's a free first down. But he just kind of runs straight into Roquan. He's got to show some more patience here. And like obviously you want to see a better block from Jonah. But if HN shows a little bit of patience, he would allow Jonah to get this block and cut to the outside. When actually would have picked up a first down because there was no one if he cuts this to the outside. There was way too much space to work with. So that's kind of just one of those things that we can't be having there. I mean, obviously, I'm not blaming HN that much or blaming Jonah that much for that play. Like, it's 3rd and 16. It's hard to pick up a screen. I'm blaming more so the rest for the first call and then Connor for not getting 2 feet in bounds. Then the next drive, you start inside the 30 because of a good punt return from Malik, and they also got a penalty that helped it out too, that gave it an extra 10 yards. And then you get nothing. You had some pretty much runs that went for nothing, and then this was like the one play you had a chance on. And Tua and Waddle, you get the quick pressure up the middle, and then Tua and Waddle are not quite on the same page. Tua kind of wants him to sit down a little bit because this guy's kind of in his throwing lane. But even then, this guy was moving enough he was moving enough back that Tua still could have hit Waddle in stride. So I think this is more a miss on Tua, but I do think I understood why he wanted to put it more on the backside of Waddle based on that defender's positioning. But it's just some missed opportunities, and it forces you to settle for a field goal. Because that's where you kick a field goal. Oh, yeah, my bad. The other one I was talking about wouldn't have been tied, but that would have allowed you to tie it right there if you went for 2. Because it was 14-3 at that point. But it would have at least made the game much closer. But now it's 14-6. Then you get another drive, this was one of the most, this is another, these are drives you have in the first half that you have to come away with points. They had multiple drives that were 10 play plus that took a lot of time off the clock, and they just came away with, nothing off of them. Here, this is a 3rd down. Tua hits the back foot. Great timing and anticipation to hit it between this triangle of defenders, him and Waddle on the same page. Waddle makes a nice catch, even slipping a little bit there. Hangs onto it. You convert on 3rd down. So big play to Waddle there. Big conversion. They hadn't been converting a ton of these in the game. That was a nice one. Then the next play, after that, you get play action. You really get the defense to bite down vertically on this one, and you can hit this pond. You could hit either. NWI is open right here if they want to hit this. He hits Waddle because I think if you do hit NWI, there's a chance, players can jump up and maybe get in the way of this. Maybe someone picks it off. Here, I understood why he maybe doesn't want to throw that because that play is more likely to get messed up. At least in other situations, it's gotten messed up. This one, I think he would have completed it pretty easily, and NWI would have had a big gain. But you hit Waddle. Waddle also gets a big gain, makes that safety miss. He looks super explosive. Then you had a couple nice runs. You get down into the 12, and now it's 4th and 2. I don't even know what to say about this play. McDaniel called it a miscommunication. Yeah, there was definitely miscommunication elements, but I don't really like the play call because there's not many options. I hate the decision from Tua. You can even throw a little bit Achan's way for kind of not even running his route really because he doesn't even run the fade. But I'm not going to give Achan too much grief there. Maybe it's completed if Achan fully, sends it out and runs full speed underneath it. But this is Achan versus their best player, Kyle Hamilton, who's 6'4". Achan's, 5'8". This is a 6'4" safety. This is not the safety you want to throw it against when it's Achan 101. Maybe other safeties you can do that, but I hate the play call because if you look to the right side of the field, they're running basically a stick with a fade element. So you run, stick with the out, stick there. These are not man beaters. The only man beater, they're running cover 0. So cover 0, running the slot fade versus cover 0 is actually usually a decent decision, but it's just, that's not the route, the matchup you want to do it with. And on 4th down, it's just still a low percentage throw. So to me, I would have started at the bottom, but even at the bottom here with Malik and Waddle, Malik's not really running a man-beating route. He's running a sit-down. Maybe if he's running a hard option route to the inside or the outside, I would have loved to go there. Waddle's really the only one running a man-beating route, but his is the one that actually takes some time to develop down the field, and they had an unblocked defender. So, even if Tua starts over here, this defender is going to hit him way before Waddle breaks. I like the decision, the play call, everything about it. Just hated. Like, don't understand. We don't even give ourselves a chance on fourth down there, and that's another time where you left points on the field, and then that's you pretty much lost at this point because you're outplaying the Ravens, but you're down 8, and the Ravens still have Lamar. You know they're gonna figure it out eventually offensively. They're gonna once they're not gonna have a full game of just playing kind of doing nothing on offense, and then you get into the second half, and the Ravens scored right away because they got the ball first. So now you're down 21-6, and then you come out and just straight drop back. This is 1st and 10. You straight drop back. There's no play action element. Nothing's open. And then Jonah just gets absolutely cooked. He just opens up the gate to the inside. He gets a little too much room. No power there. I don't even know what Jonah is doing, man. I mean, Jonah's obviously been struggling a lot. Just no strain, no effort. Like, I don't know what that inside foot is doing, just opening up the hips like that. Not ability to anchor. The hands, pretty much all poor there. Then you get the sack, and then that drive is pretty much dead. And then after that, they score again. So 28-6. So after the first drive in the second half, the game's pretty much over because 28-6. The Dolphins started to move the ball again offensively after that, but it's 28-6. So the story was the first half. A couple more plays here. This one was actually Tua got kind of fortunate. It was not picked off. To me, this is more of Tua's interception than the other one. I count this one more as his pick because this is more of a play that, like the the interception he actually threw was more of just a chuck up late. Doesn't really matter. Game's completely over. This one, there's at least a little bit of time left. Like the game's over, but he's reading Roquan. He thinks Roquan's getting widened out to the flat to Malik so he can throw the mesh route back to Eskridge, but Roquan kind of baits him. I understood why he threw it, but it still was a poor decision. Gets a little bit lucky there, and then later Malik ends up fumbling. Does this fumble actually matter? No, because the game was over, but still got to show it because it's just another situation where the Dolphins got in scoring position and came away with nothing because it was the story of the game. And then same with the final interception. Tua is kind of just chucking it up. Usually when Tua throws a lot of his picks, a lot of them come in these situations where they're down a lot, and he's just forcing balls that I don't think he usually would throw. He tries to chuck it up to Taj. Taj doesn't give a great effort at it, and then Malachi Starks comes down with the ball. So not much to say from this game. I mean, there was a lot to say, obviously. I just said a lot. But not much to say, like, in terms of, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say now. But, wow, that was a rough one to watch. Not much to say, I guess, in terms of the second half, because the first half is really where you really lost it with a lot of those mistakes each drive. Just unacceptable stuff, because you really did outplay them. Like, I felt like the momentum of how they were moving the ball kind of built from the Falcons game in that first half. It's just, they really shot themselves in the. They beat themselves. They really did. McDaniel actually had a pretty good quote at halftime saying you can't beat, I can't remember exactly what he said, but basically said you can't beat two teams. You got to beat one because they were basically playing against Miami and the Ravens. So just a combination. It's just those types of games. Like, I wasn't expecting to win against the Ravens, but man, it should have been a lot closer, especially with how the game played out in that first half. And that's the type of thing that kind of ends your season because you really could have built momentum off that Falcons game, and you had the yardage and time of possession to build off of it. In this one, it just didn't go in that direction. We'll see how it plays out. Play the Bills next. Probably going to lose that one, obviously. You always lose to the Bills. And then after the Bills game, honestly, a lot of their games are very winnable on the schedule. Now I'm going to be focusing on a lot of the young guys, focus on those rookies, focus on that development, people that are long-term pieces, because the Dolphins don't have a ton. Like, really, like, they don't have many blue-chip players to build around. It's really like Waddle, Achane, then you have some other guys who are good that you can build around, but you don't have a lot of like studs. So the rebuild might be a little bit tough. Depends on who you get in there. Hopefully they can figure some stuff out. So if you guys are comment, subscribe, and next time, peace.